Before we begin, if you follow royal drama, media meltdowns, and the moments celebrities wish never went viral, subscribe now, because this story perfectly captures how fast public perception can turn. Because when a respected commentator says he feels secondhand embarrassment watching a prince, you know something has shifted. Prince Harry once represented duty, restraint, and legacy. Today, critics say something very different, and one blunt reaction has ignited a much larger debate about whether the public has simply had enough. And it all starts with one uncomfortable moment. Douglas Murray didn't hedge his words. He didn't soften the blow. He said watching Prince Harry recently made him cringe, not out of cruelty but out of disbelief. In Murray's view, this wasn't outrage or anger. It was something worse. Embarrassment on Harry's behalf. The kind that makes people look away rather than lean in. That reaction alone raised eyebrows. Because Murray isn't known for casual commentary. When he speaks, it usually reflects a sentiment already brewing beneath the surface. And this time, many felt he said out loud what others were quietly thinking. What triggered it wasn't a scandal or leaked footage. It was something far simpler, a public appearance meant to charm, but instead left critics questioning whether Harry still understands how he comes across. The tone, the delivery, the setting, all of it felt mismatched with the image he once carried. But that wasn't the whole story. Almost immediately, online chatter picked up the same thread. Clips circulated. Comments piled up. Words like awkward, forced, and uncomfortable appeared again and again. Not outrage fatigue. A growing sense that the narrative feels repetitive, and the delivery increasingly out of sync with public mood. Some pointed to small crowds at recent appearances. Others questioned why deeply personal issues continue to be aired publicly. And while supporters defended Harry's right to speak his truth, critics asked a sharper question. At what point does explanation turn into overexposure? That question sits at the center of this moment. Because for many observers, this isn't about one appearance. It's about a pattern. Since stepping away from royal duties, Harry has spoken often through interviews, projects, and commentary about family, identity, and grievance. Each time the intention may have been clarity, but critics argue the effect has been the opposite. Douglas Murray's reaction taps into that broader discomfort. The sense that watching these moments no longer feels revelatory, it feels uneasy. And then comes the family angle. Public reconciliation has been discussed. Silence has been suggested. Yet each new appearance seems to reopen old chapters. Some commentators argue that if healing is the goal, constant visibility may be working against it. Others say Harry is trapped between relevance and restraint, and hasn't found the balance. That tension is what makes this moment so revealing. Because embarrassment isn't about disagreement. It's about disconnect. A disconnect between how someone sees themselves and how they're received. Murray's comment wasn't framed as an attack. It sounded more like a verdict on timing, tone, and public appetite. And here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone agrees this reaction reflects the majority. Some argue it's media amplification, that Harry still resonates with audiences who relate to his openness. Others believe critics like Murray represent a growing sentiment that the story has peaked, and repetition is eroding sympathy. What's clear is that the response wasn't isolated. When multiple commentators, viewers, and online voices independently describe the same feeling, discomfort, it signals something deeper than a bad night or awkward clip. It suggests a shift in how the story itself is being received. And that shift may be the most important part. Because Prince Harry isn't being criticized for who he is, but for how often and how publicly he continues to explain it. In the attention economy, silence can sometimes speak louder than another interview. Which leaves one lingering question. Is this phase just a temporary backlash? Or the moment when public patience quietly ran out? Douglas Murray may have called it second-hand embarrassment, but the reaction it sparked points to something broader. A recalibration of how much narrative the audience is willing to absorb. And whether Harry realizes it or not, that recalibration could define what comes next. If you want more deep dives into celebrity moments that change public perception overnight, subscribe now. We break down the stories behind the headlines without noise, without hype. Just the details everyone's reacting to but few are explaining. Because in celebrity culture, the most revealing moments aren't always scandals. Sometimes, they're the silences that follow.